Kia ora and welcome to another episode of Rural New Zealand. I'm your host Scotty. Join me as we check out what's happening throughout Canterbury. Alrighty, on this week's episode, we check out some native plantings and farms in North Canterbury. I try my luck at the Hororata Highland Games on training day. I get on horseback and go for a wander down New Brighton Beach. But first we meet AGS Earthmoving, who are doing great things in North Canterbury. There's nothing quite like the sound of heavy machinery, and for the hard-working staff at AGS, it's just another day at the office. I had a little talk to Aaron where he had some spare time during his day. So Aaron, what's the sort of majority of your work?
Majority, Scotty, is dairy, sheep and beef, anything really that's big enough to fit a 20 around. Lanes, that's a big part for our winter. And irrigation, all them sorts of things. Tracks, shingle supplies, anything you can just about think of, we'll do it.
At the moment, AGS have 2 quarries established to supply farmers with the rock they require.
There are 2 quarries, one being lime and rotten rock. Both good products which we sell outside of ourselves. They seem pretty good.
Like, how's important are dairy lanes for farmers and stuff like that?
Well, yeah, very important. I mean, cows can't come on magic carpets to the shed. They need something good to walk on. So, yeah, that is real important. There can be a lot of money lost in having incorrect lanes, and so having them 100% is very good. Yeah, it's real important, Scotty, to actually your prep has to be right. And believe it or not, the person on the roller is the final guy, and he needs to make sure it's right because he is the last one to see it and to have it ticked off. So no, your prep does come down to everything and making sure your runoff is correct, and so it is a big important part with the roller.
And with the lime, you're also doing some ag lime as well for farms?
Yes, yeah, just started on that. Seems to be going pretty well. Just built a big shed and so things seem to be looking up on that side of things.
Yeah. I've certainly seen a few trucks go in and out of the driveway, so...
well, hopefully they're going out with something on, so no, it seems to be working pretty well, and hopefully it keeps that way.
Having 3 brothers working side by side together in the operation must have its moments from time to time.
Yeah, it can be testing, Scotty, but we're all the same blood. You have your rows, but it's work. You carry on, get over it, and keep doing your job. So it works really well. Being hands-on and one enjoying earth moving. So so it works real well actually.
And you guys are originally from the West Coast. Obviously, you got a few years behind you with the earth moving and driving diggers and stuff like that.
Yeah. Got a farming background. My parents got a farm over there, so sort of grew up around machines being there all the time, and just decided I wanted to have a play, and from then on it led to what we are now. So learnt a lot over there as well. It's heavy conditions.
I was interested to see what the plan was for the farm at Spotswood, and it's been a while since I've been behind the wheel, so I was pretty keen to give it a go.
This farm, it's a runoff, and it's going into vegetables, so everything's got to go out of this place, and just one big linear walk from end to end, and so everything's got to be perfect for it, and should be good.
And are you looking for any staff at the moment? Do you reckon you could chuck me in the truck for a bit?
Look, Scotty, you don't have a real good track record, eh?
It's true. I think the last time I was in the truck I didn't do well, so I might have to jump in the hot seat and see how we go.
Yeah.
So my first job was to get behind the wheel of a Scania and dump a few loads of shingle down the new track. My second challenge was backing in under the Komatsu digger, and yes, I nailed it. But my next challenge was something I've never driven before, The good old bulldozer. It took me a while to figure it out. Where's the accelerator? Oh, this is easy. Okay, I've got the hang of it now. See as fast as it goes. I'm learning so much. This is great. But then I was away laughing. A natural bulldozer operator like I'd been driving it for years on end. So Aaron, how did my dozer driving go?
Well, Scotty, I think that might be more you over there.
Oh, not again. I didn't know if I was being insulted or complimented on my driving, because earlier on he did say that being a laneway rolling technician was the most important job. But either way, I still consider myself to be awesome. If you're after a roller driver, feel free to give me a call. More than happy to help. Alrighty, stay tuned on Rural New Zealand because we're staying in North Canterbury and we're looking at native plants. Welcome back to Rural New Zealand. With new irrigation schemes kicking in and carbon credit farming, now's the time to think about native plantings on your farm. So Jamie, we're on the family farm and you've actually fenced off a few native areas.
Yeah, yep. When my parents bought the place in 1966, it was just in 3 paddocks and was all covered in bush and scrub, tussock, so it was undeveloped hill block. And what they did was they established a relationship with the catchment board and drew up a farm plan, and that was all about sort of protecting the hillsides from erosion and fencing off areas of native bush and fencing, that sort of thing. So it went back to those early days. My mum and dad decided that rather than clear off all the native bush, they'd actually like to fence some of the areas off. They quite liked having it there.
Yeah.
And it was back in those days where the government actually paid farmers to develop their land and clear all their bush. But my parents decided to actually leave the bush there, a lot of it, and so that's when it started. So the main area was fenced in 1983, and my brother's just done another area 2 years ago, another area of Kānuka, about 5 hectares. He's fenced that off from stock, so it's just been an ongoing program.
And how does that sort of help with soil erosion and stuff like that?
Well, the main block of bush that's over there is when my dad walked through it, he had a good look at it and he could see really bad erosion under the bush, and so he pretty quickly worked out that if he cleared all the bush off, the hillsides were just going to slip away. So that was another factor that he decided it was much safer not to touch it, and hence that's why he's left a lot of the areas of bush around as well, in the little gullies and that sort of thing, to just stop that erosion.
In terms of looking after a native block, I mean, you may fence it off and people might think that's the be all and end all, it's fenced off, it's on its own, but is there any sort of maintenance tips that you can do for a native block?
Yeah, it's fencing off a native bush area is only the first step, and it's not a simple exercise just to run a fence around a block of bush and then just walk away. The main issue is probably weeds and pests, and as you can see with our bush blocks, there's the odd wilding tree coming through, and if we did nothing, then in probably a few hundred years time the bush would be all gone under a canopy of wilding pine trees. So we're going to have to get in and clear out those wilding trees that show up. We've done a lot of possum control work and ferret and stoat wildcat control work over the years, because that's just ongoing. And in terms of retaining the native birds in the bush, we try and get rid of many of the pests as possible. We got 60 cats in 6 months.
Oh, wow.
With a fairly intensive program. So that was a bit of an eye-opener to us as to how many wild cats there actually were.
How important is it to get the right natives for the right type of land and the right area?
Well, in terms of plantings, we've done a few native plantings, and we've infilled plantings around some of the native bush areas, and that's how we originally established. We had an on-farm native plant nursery, and we collected seed from on-site and grew our own plants for replanting back out onto the farm. And we've certainly found if you use local seed types, the plants are a lot hardier, and they're naturally adapted to this area. And you do get variations, so Carnuka here is different to Carnuka in Nelson, it's different to Carnuka in the North Island. So it's keeping that sort of local genetics.
So these ones here, Jamie, how old would these ones be?
Oh, they're probably about 15 years old, these ones.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
And how much of a impact do you reckon they make to keeping the soil up here and not down there?
Oh, well, they make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Massive difference. I mean, their root systems will go out quite a wide area, but from what we've seen, you know, with all the plantings we've done, it just stops erosion.
Yeah.
It stops it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once they get established, that's it. That's it. Beauty with the poplars is that you can plant them without having to fence them off.
Yeah.
So you can just plant them with a sleeve and away you go.
Yeah. And then be good shelter in the summer months for the
Oh,
cattle and the
good
sheep.
shade.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the idea was, as you can see, poplars in every paddock.
Yeah.
So there's going to be shade in every paddock for stock in the summer.
Yep.
So they also, you know, we use them for that as well, shelter and shade. Yeah, we've got, as you can see in front of us here, what we did is we approached the farmer and just with the idea of planting these areas where the water runs off the irrigated areas and off the farm, where the areas drain down into the lagoon. We suggested to the farmer, why don't we look at planting those areas to just help with the with the runoff, trap all that runoff before it goes into the lagoon.
Yeah.
And so the idea with these is we identified about 15 or 16 key areas that drain off the farm, and we've created what we call these as filtration plantings. So the idea is the water comes off the hill, meanders down through here, and the native plants trap all the water and the sediment and take up the nutrients. The main purpose is cleaning the water before it goes into the lagoon.
Jamie, obviously the ground's very, very wet here. Now this one, what's this one here?
This one's called Carrick Sector, or Pukio, and it's the main one we use in filtration areas and planting along waterways. And the beauty with these native grasses is that they just keep forming biomass, so they just always keep growing. And it's known as bee's knees for trapping the sediment and taking up nutrients. So there's flaxes in here, and then we've put a few cabbage trees in, and that's probably more aesthetic.
The normal flax, I suppose you could say. These ones are sort of probably be more suited to the rivers and streams and stuff like that.
Yep, we like the Carrick Sector grass. This is probably the second most common one we use for our stream and wetland plantings. And again, flaxes get very bulky, so they help with the trapping of the sediment and taking up nutrients as well. We find the flax is really good along waterways, especially under pivots, because we've got a height restriction we can work. We can only go up to sort of 3 metres, 2.5, 3 metres height with our plants. So the flaxes are a really good option, especially if we've got some erosion on stream banks. And we'll put some flaxes round to help stop that erosion. We do a lot of this sort of stuff on dairy farms. We've done a lot of waterways, particularly in the Culverden, Amuri Basin area. So dairy farmers have been most of our work. These sort of plantings with the streams, there's sort of other factors as well, other benefits. So a lot of the dairy farmers will have plantings along their streams as a buffer between the farmed land and the stream. And so if you're spreading fertiliser and that sort of thing, you've got a buffer there so that the fertiliser doesn't go into the water. There's biodiversity benefits, like one farmer came to me quite excited because it's the first time he's seen bellbirds back along his waterway, and it's because they're feeding on the flaxes. So yeah, there's a range of benefits.
Well, thanks Jamie for showing us around a few farms. Alrighty, stay tuned on Rural New Zealand because I managed to go on Icelandic Horse Trek, and I even test my luck at the Hororata Highland Games. See you guys then. Welcome back to Rural New Zealand. Now, as you guys know, I'm a massive horse fan, so I decided to go for a trek with Icelandic Horse Treks.
About 4.5 years ago. I always loved Icelandic horses and have been riding them since 25 years now. And when I arrived here from Germany, that's where I come from, in 2000, somebody had just started to breed Icelandic horses. So of course I had to get one. And initially I just, collected a few for my family. And then it turned out that the family wasn't really interested. And when my youngest started school about 4.5 years ago, I thought that I might just do this. I've got the perfect horses, I find. I've got the perfect location here. It's my passion and I needed somebody to share it with. And a lot of people dream about riding on the beach. So that's sort of how it came about, really.
And why do you choose Icelandic horses over any other breeds?
They have a really nice character. They're calm, easy to be around with, easy to handle, not spooky. Sometimes actually if you watch them before the ride you think, oh, this is going to be boring, they're half asleep. But if you're riding them and on them, they're actually quite eager, forward going. So that's their character. And then they have some special gaits, the main one being the tilt. So that's a 4-beat gait. It's about as fast as a trot, but it's not as bumpy. There's always one foot on the ground, so it's quite a smooth ride. And you can't really describe what that feels like, you have to ride it. Other reasons, they are small but really stocky. They can easily carry adult people. They give a lot of confidence.
So they purpose bred in Iceland, or were they from Iceland?
Well, the breed established when the Vikings brought horses from Northern Europe to Iceland, and that was like over 1,000 years ago. And then Iceland pretty soon decided that they do not want any more horses because they didn't want any new diseases being brought in. So they have actually been purebred on Iceland for over 1,000 years.
Oh wow.
And even today, all horses that leave Iceland are not allowed to come back. So it's as pure as you can get it.
Yeah. And what have we got installed for our trek today?
I'm going to take you down to the beach. It's going to be low tide, so it'll be good to show you the tilt. Hopefully we can get you tilting and see what you think.
So this horse riding, do you do it all year round?
Yes, I do. It's a little bit quieter in winter, but it actually it's constantly building. I guess the word of mouth is happening.
Yeah.
And I do have a lot of local people, not just tourists. So in winter it's mainly locals.
What other kind of treks do you guys offer?
I do 3 different treks. The shortest one is 1 hour, and that just goes along that lagoon where we came along before. And it's a little bit of a slower pace for people who are not so confident or don't have so much riding skills or don't have as much time, but they still can experience the tilt. And then we've got 2 longer treks, a 2 hour and a 2.5 hour one. They come here to the beach and then we go back through the forest back home. And that's more for riders who have experience and are okay for 2 hours in the saddle. The 2.5 hour ride also has a break at the beach, and we have a drink and some biscuits.
So what kind of people come on the horse treks?
I do get tourists, but also a lot of locals. Over summer it's more tourists, of course. Some of them, now the Icelandic horses, others just want to come for a ride on the beach. It's actually a dream of a lot of people to ride on the beach, so this is ideal here. And the fact that we're so close to Christchurch, it's only like a 20 minutes drive from the town.
If you're after an amazing activity this close to Christchurch, please do give them a call. Alrighty, I've been hearing amazing things about the Hororata Highland Games, and I thought maybe it was time to check it out. Every year, the Hororata community puts on a fantastic event in early November. This year they asked the Rural New Zealand team to come along to the training day. As a former multi-sport athlete, I thought I'd give it a go and meet some of the locals behind it.
Well, when we had the earthquake, church got broken. Day after the earthquake, there was a group of us met to decide how we were going to fix our church. And it ended up being a coffee at the cafe every Saturday morning for 12 months. And this is the outcome, the Hororata Highland Games.
It was more how were we going to do anything to repair anything by doing cake stalls and things. So a member of the trust came up and said, well, you're going to have to do something huge. And we had 2 Scottish people in our district and on the church, and they said, well, why don't you run a Highland Games? And that's exactly how it started. So it's been huge and it's been fun.
And how has it sort of benefited the community as a whole?
Oh, it's brought people into the community, it's brought the community together, it's given them something to be passionate about, and I think most of the community now look forward to November for the Games.
The Games is also a venue for other community groups to raise money because they all have stalls, food stalls or something at the Games. So there's a lot of money goes back into the community, not just from the Games but through the Games.
The best part of the competition is that anyone is able to enter and give it a go. Danny entered this competition from day one and he's loved it ever since.
What I love about the event, it's just an awesome atmosphere, and just the physical challenge of it. You get some really big guys coming from Australia and Auckland and that sort of thing, and they're great to really have a go against, especially that Trans-Tasman challenge. Yeah.
Is it quite a competition, but all sort of good friends and stuff like that?
Yeah, there's a real competition, not so much between the New Zealanders, but definitely between New Zealanders and Australia. But at the same time, there's real camaraderie. Everybody's looking after each other. Everybody eggs each other on, but there's still that Trans-Tasman clash there.
And do you have a favourite challenge?
My favourite challenge is actually probably the caber, which they're tossing behind me now, I think. That's probably the one thing that I'm sort of good at, I guess.
I decided to give a few of the challenges a crack and see what it was all about. We're done.
So this is the 6th Hororata Highland Games. It'll be on the 5th of November out at the Hororata Domain. We've got all of the favourites with the Oceania Heavyweight Championship and the Amateur Heavies, which you've seen a lot of the training day today. We've also got the team events, the Tug of War, which is great fun for the teams to get involved in. There's a $1,000 prize pool for that this year. Kids can come and have a go, adults can have a go at tossing a caber. New this year we've got bike polo, which is going to be interesting. It'll be a championship between Christchurch and Timaru. And then another new event we've got is the Golf Cat vehicle pull, which is where teams of 5 are going to pull a vehicle, hopefully with a little digger on the back. We've got to test that it's going to actually be doable today, but that's going to be something new and there'll be big prize money up for that. Plus we've got over 100 stalls, a fairground, we've got the bands, we've got the Highland dancing, we have over 300 competitors on the day. It pulls the community together, gives a common vision, common purpose, and they're all involved in something that's really successful and they're really passionate about it and got a lot of ownership of it. And it also brings people to our area. It has put Hororata on the map.
Well, thanks for joining us today on Rural New Zealand. I certainly hope you enjoyed the show. Just remember to give us a like on Facebook, and if you're silly enough to miss an episode, you can watch it on demand. Join us next week as we try and find some elusive ghost bears out in the Canterbury region. See you guys then on Rural New Zealand.